The emergency klaxon blared as Lieutenant Finn Caldwell fought to keep the research vessel from tearing itself apart. Red warning lights bathed the cockpit in an ominous glow as he wrestled with unresponsive controls. Mayday, Mayday. This is Lieutenant Caldwell of the ESS Horizon, experiencing catastrophic system failure during approach to Elysium. Request immediate. The communication system died with a shower of sparks. Outside the viewport, the swirling atmosphere of Elysium, planet that wasn't supposed to be inhabited, rushed up to meet him. Emerald clouds parted to reveal vast turquoise forests beneath a pale lavender sky. Not how I planned to make first contact, Finn muttered through gritted teeth. The ship carved through the lower atmosphere, heat shields glowing white-hot. With a final, desperate maneuver, Finn managed to level out slightly before impact. The vessel slammed into a meadow of phosphorescent grass, carving a half-mile trench before grinding to a halt against a copse of iridescent trees. Silence fell, broken only by the hiss of ruptured coolant lines and the gentle ping of contracting metal. Finn unbuckled himself from the pilot's seat, wincing at the sharp pain in his side. Probably broken ribs. Blood trickled from a cut on his forehead, blurring his vision. The survival training kicked in automatically. He gathered emergency supplies, medkit, water purifier, emergency beacon, multi-tool, and forced open the damaged hatch. As he stepped outside, the alien air filled his lungs, surprisingly sweet and rich with unfamiliar scents. Elysium spread before him in breathtaking beauty. The meadow glowed with bioluminescent flora that pulsed in gentle waves. Twin moons hung low in the sky, casting everything in ethereal light. The trees resembled nothing from Earth, with bark that shimmered like mother of pearl and leaves that seemed to sing in the gentle breeze. Magnificent, he breathed, momentarily forgetting his predicament. Reality returned as pain lanced through his side. He needed shelter and to assess his injuries properly. The ship was beyond repair, at least without a full engineering team. The emergency beacon might reach the orbital station, but rescue could take days. Finn had taken only a few steps when he heard them chittering sounds from the forest edge. Yellow eyes gleamed between luminous fronds. Creatures emerged, moving with unnatural speed, predators with exoskeletons like polished obsidian. They skittered forward on multiple limbs, mandibles clicking eagerly. He reached for his sidearm, but these weren't simple animals. They moved with coordinated precision, spreading out to surround him. 8, maybe 10 of them. Too many. Not exactly the welcome committee I was hoping for, he muttered, backing toward the ship. The creatures tensed to spring when a blinding flash of azure light cut through the clearing. One of the creatures disintegrated into sparkling motes, then another. The remaining predators scattered, retreating into the forest with high-pitched shrieks. From the tree line stepped a woman at least. She appeared mostly humanoid. Her movements were fluid grace personified, each step deliberate yet effortless. Her skin glowed with a subtle luminescence, pale blue with intricate patterns flowing across her form. Hair like spun silver cascaded down her back, seeming to capture and reflect the moonlight. But it was her eyes that captured Finn, deep violet. With pupils like starburst patterns, those eyes studied him with equal parts curiosity and wariness. "You're not supposed to be here," she said, her voice melodic, yet perfectly understandable.
Ow.
"No outsiders have come to Elysium in 7 generations. Finn stared in astonishment. "You speak my language." A slight smile curved her lips. "I speak all languages. It is a gift of my people." She approached with cautious steps. "You're injured." "I'll survive," Finn replied, though the pain was becoming increasingly difficult to ignore. "Perhaps, but without proper care, your injuries will worsen." She extended her hand, revealing long, elegant fingers. "I am Celine, Guardian of the Eastern Forests, Lieutenant Finn Caldwell, Earth Space Coalition." He hesitated before taking her hand. When their skin touched, something impossible happened. A current like electricity, but gentler, flowed between them. Selena's eyes widened in shock, and she pulled away abruptly. "Impossible," she whispered. "What was that?" Finn asked. Instead of answering, she glanced nervously at the forest. "The shadow claws will return with larger numbers. We must leave this place." She gestured toward the distant mountains. I can heal your wounds, but not here. Why would you help me? Because the great mothers have brought you to our world for a reason, though I fear that reason may bring pain to us both. The journey to Seleni's refuge took them through landscapes that defied Finn's understanding of natural science. They crossed fields where the grass parted before them like water, traversed forests where trees bent to create paths, and waded through streams that glowed with bioluminescent creatures. Finn struggled to keep pace, his injuries slowing him despite Selene's initial healing touch. She had placed her palm against his ribs, and a warm sensation had spread through his chest, dulling the pain but not eliminating it completely. I can only suppress your body's pain responses temporarily, she had explained. True healing requires ritual and time. As they climbed higher into the mountains, the air grew thinner, but somehow richer with unfamiliar scents. Selene moved with effortless grace, while Finn labored, his breath forming small clouds in the cooling air. Not much farther, Selene assured him, pausing atop a ridge. Beyond that waterfall lies my sanctuary. The waterfall she indicated cascaded down a cliff face, splitting into 7 separate streams that seemed to change color with each shift of light from azure to violet to gold. It's beautiful, Finn said, mesmerized by the sight. 7 Sisters Falls, Selene explained. They mark the boundary between the common lands and sacred spaces. Few of my people venture here. You live alone? He asked, surprised. A shadow passed over her features, by choice. Among my kind, I am different. She led him along a narrow path behind the waterfall, revealing a hidden entrance in the rock face. Inside, the cavern opened into a space that took Finn's breath away. The ceiling soared 30 feet above them, embedded with crystals that caught light from an unknown source and scattered it throughout the chamber. Pools of clear water dotted the floor, steaming gently. Plants unlike any Finn had seen grew in carefully tended beds, their unusual blossoms filling the air with sweet fragrance. This is where you live? He asked in wonder. Selene nodded, moving to a stone shelf where vessels of various sizes contained powders and liquids. This sanctuary has belonged to my lineage for 20 generations. I'm its current keeper. And what exactly do you keep? Knowledge? Healing arts? Ancient wisdom? She selected several containers, and occasionally unexpected visitors from the stars. Finn smiled despite himself. Does that happen often? You are the first. She approached him, holding a bowl of shimmering liquid. Remove your outer garments. Your wounds need proper treatment. Hesitantly, Finn complied, wincing as he peeled off his flight suit to reveal bruised ribs and lacerations across his torso. Selene's expression remained professional as she assessed his injuries, but he noticed a slight flush spread across her. Luminescent skin. Lie there, she directed, pointing to a shallow pool. The mineral water will cleanse your wounds. The water was pleasantly warm, tingling against his skin as he submerged himself. Selene knelt beside the pool, mixing her concoctions in the bowl until they formed a pearlescent paste. With gentle touches, she began applying it to his injuries. Your physiology is similar to ours, yet different, she observed, her fingers tracing a particularly nasty bruise across his chest. Your heart beats more rapidly. That might not be from my physiology, Finn admitted without thinking. There. Eyes met, and that same electric current seemed to pass between them. Selene withdrew her hand quickly. I shouldn't have said that, Finn apologized. I don't want to make you uncomfortable. It isn't discomfort, she said quietly. It's confusion. When we touch, I feel ... resonance. It shouldn't be possible between different species. What does that mean among your people? Selene stood abruptly. Rest now. The healing paste needs time to work. Later, as Finn sat wrapped in soft woven blankets near a warmth radiating crystal, Selene finally explained more about her world. My people, the Elysians, have lived in harmony with this planet for millennia. We are its guardians and its children. We draw our abilities from its energy. Like how you destroyed those creatures that attacked me. She nodded. The Shadow Claws are not evil, merely hungry. But they have their territory, and we have ours. And what is your territory? Finn asked. I told you. I am different. She gazed into the glowing crystal. Most Elysians live in communal settlements. I chose solitude after. She trailed off. After what? After I failed to conform to expectations? Our society values tradition above all else. I questioned too many traditions. Finn recognized something in her expression: loneliness, masked as independence. He'd worn that same mask during long solo missions. Sometimes the path that feels loneliest is the only honest one, he offered. Selena's violet eyes met his, surprise evident in them. You understand. More than you might think. That night, as Finn drifted toward sleep on a bed of soft mosses, he felt Selena's presence nearby, watching over him. Through half-closed eyes, he saw her studying him with an expression of wonder and fear intermingled. What have the Great Mother sent me? She whispered, unaware he could hear. Why does my soul recognize yours? Days passed in Selena's sanctuary, and with each sunrise, Finn's injuries healed more rapidly than should have been possible. The Elysian remedies worked wonders, but he suspected something else was accelerating his recovery, something in the connection that sparked whenever Selena's skin touched his. One morning, he found her meditating beside the largest crystal in the cavern, her body hovering several inches above the ground, surrounded by a faint aura of pulsating light. He watched, mesmerized, until she slowly descended and opened her eyes. Your presence alters the energy patterns, she said without turning. I can feel you even when my eyes are closed. I'm sorry if I interrupted. She rose fluidly. It's illuminating. Your energy signature is unique. It interacts with mine in ways I've never experienced. Finn approached cautiously. Is that good or bad? Dangerous, she replied, but didn't move away when he drew closer. My people believe that outsiders dilute our connection to Elysium. Contact is forbidden. Intimacy is ... unthinkable. The word hung between them, charged with possibility. And what do you believe? Finn asked softly. Selena's eyes met his. I believe the Great Mothers wouldn't create a connection that wasn't meant to exist. That day, she took him beyond the sanctuary, to a high plateau, overlooking the vast expanse of Elysium. From this vantage point, Finn could see the sprawling forests, meandering rivers of liquid crystal, and in the distance, structures that appeared to be Elysian settlements. Your people built cities? He asked. Living architecture, Selene corrected. The structures grow from the land and are shaped by collective will. She pointed to the largest settlement. That is Astralam, the central gathering place of all Elysian clans. The Council of Elders resides there. Your leaders are most respected guardians of tradition, she said, a hint of bitterness in her voice. They would order your immediate capture if they knew of your presence. And what would they do to you for harboring me? Selena's expression darkened. Severance. They would cut my connection to the planet's energy. It would be ... like losing part of my soul. Finn stepped closer, drawn by an impulse he couldn't explain. Then why risk it? Why help me at all? Because from the moment I sensed you crash onto our world, something within me responded. Her voice trembled slightly. When our hands first touched, did you feel it? The energy. Yes. That was the beginning of a bond. Her eyes searched his. Among my people, such connections form only between those whose souls are compatible at their deepest level. It has never been documented between an Elysian and an outsider. Finn felt his heart racing. What does it mean? It means either ancient. Wisdom is flawed, or you and I are meant to challenge it. She took a step closer. Both possibilities terrify me. That evening, as the twin moons rose over Elysium, casting their silvery light through crystal openings in the sanctuary ceiling, Finn found Selene standing in one of the shallow pools. Her silver hair cascaded down her back, catching moonlight like threads of stars. She turned at his approach, making no move to create distance between them. I've been thinking about my ship's emergency beacon, he said. Eventually someone from the coalition will come looking. Pain flashed across Selena's features. You wish to leave? I have responsibilities, people who depend on me. Of course, she looked away. You have a life beyond Elysium. Finn moved closer, stepping into the pool. The warm water swirled around his legs as he approached her. But something's happening between us that I don't fully understand. Something I can't ignore. It would be wiser if you did, she whispered, though she made no move to retreat as he drew nearer. I've never been particularly wise, he admitted, reaching to brush a strand of silver hair from her face. When his fingers grazed her cheek, the energy between them surged. Celine gasped, her violet eyes widening as luminescent patterns across. Her skin brightened in response to his touch. This cannot be, she murmured, even as she leaned into his hand. Yet it is, Finn replied, drawing her closer. Their lips met, and the world around them seemed to pulse with light. The water in the pool began to glow, responding to the energy flowing between them. Selena's arms encircled him, her touch igniting. Sensations that transcended physical pleasures if their very souls were intertwining. Later, as they lay together on soft moss beds beneath the crystal ceiling, Celine traced patterns on his chest with glowing fingertips. What happens now? Finn asked softly. Now we have broken the oldest taboo of my people, she replied, though there was no regret in her voice. I cannot find it within myself to care. A sudden tremor shook the sanctuary, dislodging small crystals from the ceiling. Celine sat up abruptly, her expression alarmed. What was that? Finn asked. The council, she whispered, fear evident in her voice. They've sensed our bond. They're coming. Dawn broke with an unnatural stillness. The usual symphony of Elysium's wildlife had gone silent, as if the entire planet held its breath in anticipation. Celine moved through the sanctuary with swift purpose, gathering items in a woven satchel. We must reach the Temple of Echoes before they find us, she explained, handing Finn a crystalline dagger. Keep this with you. It's attuned to my energy signature and will offer some protection. I won't let them hurt you, Finn promised, the weapon humming faintly in his grip. Celine paused, her expression softening. Your courage is admirable, but misplaced. The council doesn't rely on physical force, they wield planetary energy. A single elder could immobilize you with a thought. Then what's our plan? There is an ancient law even the council must honor. If we can reach the temple and invoke the right of resonance, they must allow us to prove our bond's legitimacy. Left the sanctuary as the first rays of sunlight crested the mountains, Celine led them down hidden paths, avoiding the main trails where Elysian scouts would likely be searching. The journey was treacherous, crossing razor-sharp crystal formations and wading through bogs of luminescent quicksand that Celine navigated with practiced ease. By midday, they reached a vast clearing where colossal stone arches rose from the ground in concentric circles. At the center stood a structure that seemed impossibly old, a temple crafted from a single piece of translucent crystal that changed color with each shift of light. The Temple of Echoes, Celine whispered reverently, built by the first ones, when Elysium was young. As they approached, Finn noticed movement at the temple's entrance, figures in flowing robes, whose skin bore more elaborate patterns than Celine's. The keepers, she explained. They maintain the temple, separate from council authority. An elderly Elysian stepped forward, his luminescent patterns forming complex whorls across his face. Celine, daughter of the eastern forests, he intoned. We have felt the disturbance in the planetary field. You bring an outsider to sacred ground. I seek the right of resonance, Elder Thorn, Celine replied, her voice steady, despite the fear Finn could sense through their growing bond. Murmurs rippled through the assembled keepers. Elder Thorn's expression remained impassive, but his patterns flared brighter. The right has not been invoked in 7 generations, and never for an outsider. You ask much? I ask only what ancient law permits, Celine countered. Our souls have formed a true bond. We deserve the chance to prove it. The elder studied them both, his gaze lingering on Finn. And you, Start Traveler, do you understand what you're agreeing to? The right will lay bare your soul. If deception or impurity is found, the consequences are severe. I have nothing to hide, Finn replied, and everything to fight for. A faint smile touched the elder's lips. Perhaps there is wisdom in the Great Mother's design after all. He gestured toward the temple entrance. Enter, and prepare. The council approaches, and with them, your trial. Inside, the temple's crystal walls refracted light in hypnotic patterns. At its center stood a circular pool filled with liquid that resembled mercury but moved with conscious purpose. Forming and reforming patterns on its surface, Selene knelt beside the pool, instructing Finn to do the same. This is the Well of Echoes. We'll amplify our connection and display it for all to witness. What exactly will they see? Everything, she said softly. Our thoughts, memories, feelings, the true nature of our bond. Before Finn could respond, a commotion outside announced new arrivals. Moments later, 6 Elysians entered the temple, their elaborate robes and intensely bright pattern markings identifying them as council members. Their expressions ranged from outrage to curious fascination as they beheld Finn. A tall female Elysian, with piercing gold eyes, stepped forward. Selene Moonsinger, you stand accused of the gravest violation, forming a forbidden bond with an outsider, contaminating your connection to Elysium's energy. How do you answer? I invoke the right of resonance. High Elder Nerva, Selene replied formally. Let the Well of Echoes judge the purity of our bond, and if it finds your bond corrupt, then I accept severance, Selene said, her voice unwavering. Despite the gravity of what she offered, gasps echoed through the temple. Finn felt cold dread spreading through him at what Selene risked. High Elder Nerva turned her penetrating gaze to Finn. And you, outsider, what do you offer if your intentions are found wanting? My life, Finn answered, without hesitation, ignoring Selena's shocked intake of breath. Nerva's expression revealed nothing. So be it. The rite will commence at moonrise. As the council members withdrew to prepare, Selene turned to Finn, distress evident in her eyes. You shouldn't have offered your life. There were lesser pledges available. Not for me, he said. Simply, if our connection means enough for you to risk your soul, how could I offer less? Tears shimmered in her violet eyes. You don't understand what you've done. We fail. ... We won't, he assured her, taking her hands in his. Whatever this bond is between us, it's real. I've never been more certain of anything. As twilight deepened into night, the temple began to glow from within. The keepers led Finn and Selene, 2 opposite sides of the Well of Echoes, which now pulsated with inner light. The council members took positions around the circumference, their pattern markings synchronized in flowing rhythms. High Elder Nerva raised her arms. The rite of resonance begins. Let truth be revealed. She gestured, and the liquid in the well rose in a perfect sphere, hovering between Finn and Selene. Elder Thorn approached, offering a small ceremonial blade to each of them. A drop of essence freely given, he instructed. Finn pricked his finger without hesitation, allowing a single drop of blood to fall into the suspended sphere. Selene did the same, her luminescent blood merging with his human crimson. The effect was immediate and extraordinary. The sphere expanded, enveloping both of them in a cocoon of swirling energy. Within this shared space, Finn felt Selena's consciousness intertwining with his own memories, emotions and thoughts flowing freely between them. He experienced her childhood as an Elysian prodigy with unusually strong energy manipulation abilities, her growing disillusionment with rigid traditions, the loneliness of self-imposed exile, and finally, the moment she first sensed his arrival on Elysium, the inexplicable pull she felt toward him before they even met. In turn, Selene witnessed his life among the stars, his drive to explore, the losses that had shaped him, the emptiness he'd carried despite his accomplishments, and the profound sense of recognition he'd felt upon first seeing her, as if finding a piece of himself he hadn't known was missing. Above all, flowing between them like a current, was a connection neither had words to describe, a resonance that transcended species and worlds. When the energy cocoon finally dissipated, Finn found himself kneeling beside the well, Selena across from him, tears streaming down her face. Around them, the council members stood in stunned silence, their pattern markings pulsing in chaotic rhythms. High Elder Nerva was the first to speak, her voice barely above a whisper. In 7 generations as an elder, I have never witnessed such perfect resonance. Elder Thorn stepped forward. The well does not lie. Their bond is pure, perhaps the purest I have ever observed. But he is an outsider, protested another council member. Our laws, perhaps our laws, require re-examination, Irva interrupted, her gold eyes studying Finn and Celine with new respect. The great mothers have shown us something unprecedented today. We would be fools to ignore their wisdom. The council's decision sent ripples throughout Elysian society. For the first time in recorded history, an outsider was granted protected status, not merely tolerated, but officially recognized as bonded to one of their own. The implications were profound and far-reaching. Finn and Celine returned to her sanctuary to find it transformed. What had been a solitary refuge now hummed with new purpose, as Elysian scholars and curious younglings made pilgrimages to meet the star traveler and the guardian who had defied tradition. I never expected to become a cultural ambassador, Finn remarked one evening as they sat beside the Seven Sisters Falls. Watching the last visitors depart, Celine leaned against him, her pattern markings glowing contentedly. Nor I a revolutionary. Yet here we are, changing my world one conversation at a time. 3 months had passed since the trial of souls. In that time, Finn had learned more about Elysian culture and abilities than any outsider before him. He'd discovered that their manipulation of planetary energy wasn't mystical, but a highly evolved. Symbiotic relationships, something between technology and biology, that defied Earth's scientific categories. In return, it shared knowledge of the cosmos beyond their world. The Council had initially restricted such information, fearing cultural contamination, but curiosity proved stronger than caution. Soon, Elysian scholars were mapping star systems and discussing concepts of interstellar travel with enthusiastic wonder. The signal from your emergency beacon grows stronger, Selena observed, a hint of worry in her voice. Your people will find you soon, Finn nodded, the reality of his eventual rescue something they'd both avoided discussing. I've been thinking about that. You must return to your duties, she said, trying to keep her voice neutral, despite the pain that flowed through their bond. Actually, I was thinking we both should go. Celine sat up, surprise evident in her expression. Leave Elysium? Connection to the planetary energy won't be severed, Finn assured her. The bond we share has proven that. During the trial, when our consciousness merged, I felt your connection to Elysium flowing through me. And you felt my connection to the stars. It's true, she admitted. Through your memories, I experienced worlds I never imagined. That's what the Great Mothers intended. Not just bringing us together, but bringing our peoples together. Celine considered this, her pattern markings shifting thoughtfully. The Council would never permit a mass exodus. Not an exodus, Finn clarified. Exchange. Elysian representatives traveling with Earth delegates, sharing knowledge, establishing diplomatic relations. Your people have abilities that could revolutionize our understanding of energy manipulation. Earth's technology could help Elysium connect with the wider universe and us. Celine asked softly, where would we belong? Finn took her hands in his, the familiar energy dancing between them, between worlds. Bridges connecting to civilizations that never knew the other existed. The following weeks were a whirlwind of preparation. Finn worked with Celine to draft a formal proposal for the Council, a vision of peaceful first contact that would preserve Elysian culture while opening new possibilities. To their surprise, High Elder Nerva championed their cause. Seeing in their bond a fulfillment of ancient prophecies about Elysium's eventual reconnection with the cosmos, when the Coalition rescue ship finally arrived, it was met not with secrecy or hostility, but with an official Elysian delegation. Finn watched with pride as Celine, now appointed ambassador to Earth, greeted his astonished commander with perfect diplomatic poise. Lieutenant Caldwell, Commander Reeves stammered, looking between Finn and the assembled Elysians. Your mission was supposed to be a simple planetary survey. I've always been an overachiever, sir, Finn replied with a smile. Later, as the Coalition ship prepared for departure with its unprecedented diplomatic cargo, Finn and Celine stood on a hilltop overlooking the landing site. The evening light painted Elysium in breathtaking hues of amber and violetta, sight Finn had come to love as much as the woman beside him. "Are you afraid?" he asked gently, feeling the mixture of excitement and apprehension flowing through their bond. Terrified, Celine admitted, but also exhilarated. "My whole life, I've questioned traditions, sensed there was something more beyond our isolated existence. Now, I'll see it with my own eyes, and I'll be right beside you," Finn promised. "Every step of the way," she turned to him, violet eyes shimmering with emotion. "When I saved you that first day, I never imagined where it would lead. That by choosing you, I was choosing a new destiny for both our worlds." "The strongest choices are often the ones we don't realize we're making," Finn said, drawing her close. "Sometimes the heart knows before the mind catches up." As they boarded the coalition ship together, hand in hand, neither could know exactly what challenges awaited them among the stars. But through their bond, they shared absolute certainty in one truth: whatever came next, they would face it together, two souls from different worlds who had found in each other not just love, but a bridge between civilizations. In the control room, as the engines powered up for departure, Celine pressed her palm against the viewport, sending a silent farewell to her homeworld. Through their connection, Finn felt her bittersweet emotions and wrapped his arm around her shoulders. "We'll return," he promised. "This isn't an ending, it's a beginning." Celine smiled up at him, her pattern markings glowing with renewed purpose. "Yes, the beginning of something greater than either of us could have imagined." As the ship rose into Elysium's atmosphere, the planet seemed to shimmer in farewell, its energy reaching out one last time to touch its departing daughter. But instead of fading with distance, the connection remained strong, testament to bonds that transcended physical proximity. Celine had been strong all her life, strong enough to question, stand alone, to defy tradition. Finn, in opening herself to love across the boundaries of worlds, she had discovered a different kind of strength altogether, the strength found in connection, in vulnerability, in bridge-building, and as Earth's first ambassador to Elysium. That strength would forge a path toward a future where boundaries between worlds were not barriers, but thresholds to cross. Hand in hand,